So the next match I'm gonna show you was with this sideboard configuration. I figured out that I didn't like Gadoktik as much. It wasn't giving me the advantage that I wanted against the decks that I wanted it. So right now I'm going back to trying Void Mirror, which is good against any decks that pitch in order to cast things. For example, Fury, Solitude. It does not help with our Force of Vigor and Endurance. It's good against Strong too. I always keep mentioning this matchup, I know, but I do believe it's important. It's a staple deck for the format. It has many uses. It doesn't let the opponent cast anything for free. This is the configuration. Nothing else changes. So let's go to our first match and say to our first match. Let's go to the match. I'm gonna show you how it went. So we are playing against Sokos 13. This was the guy that actually won the Modern Showcase, the Super Qualifier, when I actually joined too. We are from the same country, so I actually know the person, and this is why you're gonna see on the bottom left that there's actually a chat. This is a hand that I shouldn't have kept against the decks that I know that the opponent is playing, but I did keep it because I had the 2 Curan Ranger as well as the Elves Mystic, and if he didn't kill my Mana Dork the first turn, I would be in a very good position. I'm fetching for a basic forest because I know he likes to play red decks and decks with high removal. Right here, I choose not to cast... Oops, a bit too fast for you, sorry. I choose not to cast Archdruid, and I prefer to cast a War Master and actually create a huge board that they cannot kill and swarm them, if I can say that. I prefer to be aggressive. First we attack, hoping that they will block with a Dragon Race Channeler. They won't. And again, I prefer not to play my Elvish Archdruid. I play the Realm Walker to be able to fill my board easier. I really want to play Archdruid only as a finisher, to finish the attack, the game, and deal more damage. It's a more aggressive approach to the deck. They know our top deck. Of course, Realm Walker has to die. Now it's the point to play the Archdruid. We're not holding back. We know that our creatures are gonna die, but we try to deal more damage than they're dealing to us. Of course, the fact that they are fixing their top deck every time isn't very helpful for us. So the Archdruid dies. We have a bunch of 1/1s attacking. As I like to say, very angry elves. They're on 4. The good thing here is the ability of a Dragon Race Channeler. They are forced to attack if they have Delirium, and it's something that I'm planning on abusing. Meaning that they're just on 4. They don't have blockers. And if I attack with 5 creatures, it's at least 3 will go through, even if they have removal. Obviously, they didn't have removal and they die. And so we go to game number 2. So, how I usually like to sideboard against this deck is pretty much the same as Grixis Death Shadow. I like Leyline of Vitality. because it helps with Fury that they play sometimes in the sideboard and they bring in against us. Of course, Endurance is the best card we can have, as well as Christ. So these cards come in. I move away from the combo part of the deck, so I'm removing the Vizier as well as 2 Devoted Druids, all the Courts and the Finale. I'm shaving an Azuriov and 1 Heritage. I do believe that 1 Heritage is always enough to do what it has to do. I want to have a creature dense deck in order to have more creatures than their removal. This of course doesn't go if they have engineered explosives, which is a mass removal, and the deck hates mass removal. So let's go and see how game 2 went. So, sorry again for the replay rushing a bit. This is a perfectly fine hand. It has a Leyline of Vitality, which is a life-gaining mechanism, and it's going to buy us time to hopefully establish our board. Reason that the Izzet Murktide deck is good is that it has Disruption and it's fast. So let's see how it goes. Ragavan helps a lot with the speed of the deck because it helps you accelerate with mana. There's no reason to lose life, that's why I'm playing Curion Ranger turn 1. As a person, I'm very aggressive with the use of my endurances against these decks. Maybe I shouldn't, but I really don't want Murktide to land. I do believe that as soon as Murktide lands, it's very difficult for Elves to come back. It's very difficult for Elves, sorry I paused it, to come back, because you have to rely on Grist in order to beat them. And Endurance on its own cannot beat that deck, because their Murktide is usually bigger than a 3/4 creature. So here I decide to pitch my Warmaster in order to cast in their turn 1 Endurance and clean their graveyard. We do draw very well at this point. So we are sending the very angry Curion Ranger in to attack. And since they decide not to play anything else, at this point I decide to be aggressive. I cast my own Endurance in order to start attacking even more. I have my Collected Company as my backup. They do have 5 cards in hand though, and I always keep that in mind. The Curion died, but the Endurance goes through. And here I decide to cast Collected Company because I don't want it to get countered. There are some versions of the deck, of the Murktide deck, that do play Force of Negation, but it's not that often. Most decks don't play that. Plus, if they played Force of Negation, it would mean that I would take 2 blue cards out of their hand in order to counter the one card that I had, and I was willing to do that. That was a very bad company. I just hit my mana dorks. If it had hit anything better, I would be in a very good spot at this point. I do understand that Leyline of Vitality actually dilutes the deck more. I'm not sold on using it against these decks. I have found out that it's the best way for me to win though. Plus, I don't rely on the combo because it will never go through. They will always counter it, and they will always kill the card that they have to kill. So, right now we are just staying aggressive. I'm drawing cards to see what I have, and then decide how I'm gonna play. But as you can always see, here you can see that they're putting a card on the top of their library, and then they're drawing with Archmage's Charm. So we know that most of the time they have a very good hand. Here we'll try to cast War Master. There's nothing holding me back at this point, so I am swinging in with a Heritage Druid, Elvish Mystic, as well as Endurance. They're on 3. Like the previous game, I try to be faster than whatever they can do. But they are always fixing their top deck. They're killing the War Master. They're doing it in the draw step. They try to kill the War Master actually, but because of a War Master's ability that gets +2/+2, I'm activating a Heritage Druid and War Master. I think they didn't know the card that well. Sorry. So at least they're using 2 lightning bolts in order to get rid of 1 War Master. But we see again that they put a card on the top of their library. They are drawing very well, but this is not something unexpected. But it feels so close here. They're on 3. Counterspell? Still, we're not staying back. We're on 21 life, and they're on 3. If they're on 1, nothing bad can happen, right? They're attacking with their Channeler, and then Engineered Explosives happens. As I said, it's a card that is devastating for Elves. Second counter. They're down to 2 cards. There's still hope. An 8/8 Murktide. We are not that worried. We have also Verdant Catacombs, which is can represent a Dryad Arbor. We just have to deal 1 damage at this point. If they had attacked here, we would be in a better spot, but they didn't. Christ is a very nice top deck, but gets countered. And again, you can see that with Dragon Race Channeler, they put the card on the top of their deck. The second Engineered Explosives goes in the graveyard. But they can always check what they're drawing. And this is when things get a bit more difficult, because one of the Murktides triggers the other one to become bigger, because instants and sorceries get exiled. They have 2 cards in their hand, so I do have to try to crack in order to get the Dryad Arbor and try to swing for the lethal damage. But they had kept 1 more lightning bolt in their hand to kill me in response to me cracking. And this is the end of game 2, and so we move on to game 3. So here we are, game 3 against Izzet Murktide. Of course I want to play first. I wouldn't have kept this hand if it wasn't for Kyrian Ranger. I think I keep one landers more than I thought I was. Lilian of Vitality again is there to buy us time, and Endurance is the card that's the best one in the matchup together with Grist. So turn 1 we are playing our Mana Dog. Turn 2 Kyrian Ranger into untapping the Mystic and then playing Devoted Druid. I choose not to cast my Kyrian Ranger because I need it as a pitch target for my Endurance in case I want to cast it. I can cast it now though because I have 3 mana open. And our very angry Kyrian Ranger goes for damage. I choose to cast my Endurance. Sorry, I choose to cast my Collected Company. And again here, my Collected Company wasn't that good. I just get mana dorks out of it. If I had, I don't actually. The Lilians of Vitality are cards that I wouldn't be able to cast anyway, because they are in the place of Court of Calling and Finale of Devastation, which is just another. So this means that this is actually another Collected Company fizzling. Fizzling. It didn't fizzle, but it didn't give us anything good. I do believe that if the Collected Company hits something better this right now, at this point, it would be in a very good spot. And I choose to cast the Endurance. To be more aggressive. And I remove their graveyard. I want to delay their game as much as possible. They only have 3.5 minutes left to play. So if they do not land the Murktide, I should be in a good position. So we go to their turn. Kozilek's return. I'm so happy I had my Lilian of Vitality, because if I didn't have it, most of my board would be out. I would only have the Endurance. I remain aggressive. I attack again with the Endurance, and afterwards I'm playing Wallmaster, which is going to get countered. They're drawing a lot of cards, which is actually bad for us. And they're killing our Endurance, but we do top deck a Collected Company. I'm waiting for the moment that they will actually crack the Polluted Delta in order to play the Company. I see that they have 4 cards in hand. If they crack end of the turn, I'm gonna cast it, but they don't. This actually means for me that they have a counter spell in hand, so I don't want to throw away my Collected Company as easily, and I want to keep it for the moment that I will cast it, because most of the cases it's game changing. A 7/7 Murktide isn't worrying us. They let Warmaster resolve, which is a good sign. They still don't crack the Polluted Delta, so I know they have the counter in hand. We're on 25 life. 7/7 Murktide is not going to do much. Well, it does, but we do have enough time. They have the upper hand right now. They don't need to do anything. I do try to get a bit more aggressive by fetching for the Dryad Arbor. So this is the time that I have to try to cast my Collected Company. I see that they already played one counter spell, but they play the second one too. They only have 2 cards in hand at this point, so I believe that any top deck might be good. They draw Mishra's Bauble. They draw Mishra's Bauble out of Expressive Iteration. They're attacking. Another company. We're trying hard to cast it, but it gets countered again. So at this point, I admit that I cannot beat them on time. Their attack next turn is lethal, and we're losing the match.